Our first season in for Premier League is going to be the hardest yet. And the reason why is because it's not quite going to plan. Other seasons before, down in Championship, League 1, League 2, fair enough, we was always the favourites to get relegated, but we exceeded expectation. Whereas this time in Premier League, we're seeing expectation. How is the league table shaping up? And as you can see, we are 18th, 19 games played. So we do have a game in hand over Stoke and Crystal Palace, but we are only on 15 points. Good news is it's only halfway through the season, plenty to play for. We've only won 4 games, drawn 3, and lost 12. This is just not a familiar position that I've been in, right? Because previous seasons, for many seasons, done all right. Tactics been working. We've been bringing in players that have done the job. We've brought in players now who are probably the best players that we've ever had at our club. They're not quite performing of that over expectation of the other players that did. Maybe now that there's money behind it, they're getting paid a lot more money. We're signing players for fees now and not so many on free transfers. The expectation is rising and rising, and maybe they're just not seeing that expectation, despite me shouting about the mentality when we was going through the transfer window. We're bringing in these players for mentality. Well, will that soon kick in for us to get survival? Let's go and have a look at our players, and our best performing player is Ian Roberts. He is playing 19 games, scored 4 and assisted 5. He's playing a 6.99, so let's round it up. He's playing a 7. Anyone who's playing a 6.0, anyone who's playing a 6.6, you round it up and it's a 7, right? Ryan Devlin, he's our second best performing player, and he's playing a 6.94. A few goals, few assists. Then our captain, Jordan Ledwards, he has scored 9 goals for us, 2 assists. That is pretty good. And then our record transfer signing, marquee signing, our star player, he is playing 6.83. Don't know, am I disappointed with that? A little bit. But then again, he's in a team full of players who are probably Championship / League 1 standard. And I'll explain that. If you look at the stars and you do pick our best player, Di Pietro, and you go to reports, and as you can see, good Sky Bet Championship player. That's our best player. Our assistant manager is basically saying, based on his stats, he is a good Championship player. And to be fair, you look at his stats and you go, yeah, he's a good Championship player. I'd be like, well, I'd expect those stats from like a Barry Bannon, someone like that, right? So he is our best player. You go to Ledwards, who is, he's probably a Championship player, yeah. So we've got a good Championship team, but then you go to our main striker, who will be Stuart Jordan, and you go to his reports, and he's a decent Championship player. So we've got a decent Championship player playing in the Premiership. But sometimes where players exceed expectation, I mean, Tom Callaghan, he's got great potential, but he's a decent League 1 player. Could be a potential Premiership player, but he's 22 years old. I mean, when is he going to reach that potential? Maybe never. Looking at his history, he's bounced between League 1 and Championship, and we've given him that chance. I mean, he didn't even play that well in League 1. Played okay in Championship, and for Premiership, this is the only players that we can bring in with our budget and our reputation. So hopefully that gives you a bit of example, Paul. This is the challenge that we face. And it will face you as well. If you get a non-league team promoted up a natural way with no cheating and doing it in a fast manner, maybe we needed a couple more seasons in the Championship to build our reputation for us to then go up. I don't know. Maybe we're just going to bounce between Championship and Premiership. Who knows? And then Manny Mitchinson, centre-back, he's playing a 6.83 with Dobson, who's a 2-star player, and he's playing a 6.83, but he's managed to get 10 games, but he's injured. Looking at our worst performing players, well, O'Shea hasn't started, Foster hasn't started, Evans hasn't started, so they're all going to be gone in this window, maybe, hopefully, or even just let their contracts roll down. They're not on that much money anyway. And we got Brian Schwack, who's our emergency backup goalkeeper, and then we've got our Loney second midfield right player. He's just, 6.54, no goals, no assists, started 3, been on sub bench 11 times, come off the bench 11 times. It's rubbish. Bashir, 6.55. But then again, Bashir, he is definitely a Vanarama national player, a decent, and he is playing in for Premiership. He's played 4 caps. Who would have thought those type of players would have done well? And then our best centre-back last season, or last few seasons, Domenico. Okay, last season, I mean, he played a 7. I was expecting good things from him, but no, nothing. But then again, he's a good League 2 player. Sometimes you just want the stats, and if you bring in players with the right stats, it doesn't matter what potential they are or ability they are, they can perform. But I think now that we've reached the top level and we've got the likes of Chelsea, Man United, Man City, Liverpool and co, we're struggling. We are struggling, and there's some teams out there with massive budgets. While we're here, we'll have a quick look at our budgets. We've got £13 million in for Kitty with £565,000 wage budget, which we've got just under 100 grand, so about 88, something like that, £88,000 to spend. So we do have a bit of money, but then again, 88,000. I mean, if we brought in 2 Di Petros, that's 2 players, £44,000 each if we can. And if we do look at players that are available to us, so if we go to give you an insight of what we're going for and where we're struggling, if we go okay, and I have to put this down to unsure, loan down to unsure, to really try and bring out the best players as well. So if we go transfer value for a minute and not scouter players, so we've got some gaps in our scouting profile of players that are interested in us. But I mean, for highest money, I mean, we're not going to spend £61 million on a player. There's no chance. He looks pretty good, Stollery from Arsenal. But then again, you look at his stats. I mean, he did well in Championship, but he's not that proven in Premiership at all. And to spend £61 million would just be crazy. Then you look down at the next player, £14 to £21 million. That's our whole budget just gone on one man. And again, mentally and physically stats, he looks good, but technically, and maybe this is where we're missing, is that we need to be in top flight football. We need to be better technically. And at the moment, we're great on the mentally and physical side of the game, just not technically good at playing football. He looks pretty good, apart from last season he was in Serie B, and that's the only time really that he's ever got a 7. So again, for me to spend my whole budget on a player like that, but then you could say, oh Doopa, why don't you look at your scouting pool, utilise that of your A+. But then again, I mean, A+, Jordan Mones, I mean, he's in budget, he's an attacking midfield right player, but then you look at his stats and you're like, okay, maybe. I mean, great dribbling, good crossing, mentally not that great, physically he's got a bit of pace about him, agility, stamina, not bad. And then what does Scout think where he is? He's a good League 2 player, and the reason why his rating is high is because he's got good potential. He can become a Premiership player, but when? He's 24 years old. What, in for the next 6 years so he's going to become a Premiership player? I need Premiership players now, and this is the problem that I'm finding. Well, I can't build a team based on Premiership potentials. I need decent Premiership players now, and this is going to be my problem. But hey, I have to work with what I can, and hopefully we will work towards that survival. Well, that's it for today's video. Bit of a bleak, but hey, we've got half a season left, so let's look at positive. Let's be ambitious. We can do this. Give us some love and luck by liking this video, and if you want to continue following our journey of the Unknown to Icon series, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one.